Welcome back to Cafe and Views. On today's episode, we're going to balcony, coffee, and tea. Follow me to see what their Brad Pitt is all about, to see if it's actually a good coffee or if it's all talk, no show. Let's go. When I walked in to balcony, coffee, and tea, the atmosphere was real welcoming. Immediately they looked at me, asked me what I wanted, if there's anything special or in particular that I wanted. There's a lot of indoor seating. When you first walk in, there's multiple tables, multiple chairs, and then there's like this little greenhouse or green room. You could walk in there and there's even more chairs and tables that you could sit at. It was one of the more green shops. It definitely gives you that cool coffee vibe. You definitely wanna drink this coffee when you're there. If you go to balcony, coffee, and tea, make sure that you stick around inside the shop and drink the coffee there. Environment and atmosphere is just as important as the characteristics of the coffee. They all kind of blend together to make the experience of drinking a coffee great. Just knowing that there's a lot of people there and they get a lot of traffic and I still got my coffee in 2 minutes was a really good sign. I was told that you need to drink this coffee carefully because they mixed the milk and then the coffee, so it has to kind of mix together in a way. First off, we're going to talk about acidity. I get more sweet notes than citrusy notes. There isn't really many fruity notes or citrusy notes that I get from this coffee. This coffee is really good at finding that middle ground from sour to sweet. I definitely get a good mellow vibe. It's not sharp. There's nothing that sticks out. You don't want a coffee to be sharp and kind of punch you in the face. You want a coffee that's nice and smooth, nice and mellow, that just easily goes down the palate. First impressions, I got more of like a milky consistency, texture. It doesn't make you more lively. It's just something that you just grab on the go. I can't really taste the sugars in here. So unfortunately for acidity, I'm giving it 2 out of 5. For aroma, it has a nice pleasant smell. It's not overpowering, it's not pungent, it's not over the top. It's nice and mellow. If you bring this coffee into a small room, it's not really gonna turn heads. Nobody's gonna ask, what is that coffee? What are you drinking? This is more so for you. I'm not really getting attracted to it. Surprisingly, just off the faint smell, I can actually taste the coffee, but that's because the coffee flavor is so subtle. Aroma really complements the flavor. You can taste the coffee just by smelling it. Not extreme, but it's there. You do have to lean into the coffee pretty close, smell it. The smell cannot be there, but as long as the flavor tastes amazing, I'm fine. I can kind of get just simple ingredients. It doesn't really smell as if a lot went into it. Overall, this coffee has good smells. For aroma, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. Let's talk about the most important factor, the flavor. The flavor is usually what makes or breaks a coffee. For this coffee, I would say the flavors blend pretty well together. The ice brings down the flavor ever so slightly. For a cup this small, they give you about maybe 1/3 of ice. It kind of takes away from the real flavor of the coffee. It's gonna kind of reset your mood and your standard on life that day. Just the presentation alone of the coffee is gonna make you want to go back and drink it. This coffee was meant to be drank at the coffee shop, but the flavor is definitely there. I definitely get a lot of unique flavors that just enhance everything and make it better. For flavor, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. Next up is pretty much the second most important factor when drinking a coffee, and that's the body. When I'm drinking this coffee, it sits on my taste buds for a few seconds, but not as much as I would want it to. It's not thick and creamy and foamy because of the ice being so prominent in this coffee. The flavor stays on your tongue, but it's so watered down that you can't really get much flavoring. Like, it's there, but you can't get much out of it. The weight is pretty light. Doesn't glide off the tongue, it sticks around, and then 10 seconds after it just goes away. So for body, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. This coffee is not sweet, but the milk in here perfectly counteracts the sweetness in it. It's just something about the milk in here that mixes with the sweetness of the coffee that just overall gives me a better mood or a better depiction of what the coffee is. It's not super sweet, so you have more of a chance to understand the flavors and everything else about the coffee. For sweetness, it's not sweet, but I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It has a pretty good aftertaste. It's nothing spectacular, but it'll definitely put a smile on your face. It'll leave your taste buds feeling happy and accomplished. It doesn't hug your mouth as if a foamy, thicker, more syrupy coffee would. I wouldn't say it leaves a good trail or the best trail, but it does leave a proper trail. A lot of coffees, they kind of lack that aftertaste, that trail feeling to it. For aftertaste, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. For complexity, you needed to see this coffee in the beginning to give your own hypothesis if this coffee is going to be complex or not. I'm going to just go based off presentation and taste and kind of combine them together in terms of complexity. The looks are there, taste is there, so on the normal eye, it would look complex. It would make you want to think about what went into the coffee, how they made it, how unique it is. When you're drinking this coffee, it doesn't just hit you with a range of experiences. Coffee all blends together real well. Like looking at the coffee in the beginning was a special way to drink it. Just having that adds to complexity, makes you think. You don't want to mess up drinking it the wrong way. You want to enjoy it the proper way. It doesn't keep that same level of complexity all the way from beginning to end. It starts dying down towards the middle to the end. For complexity, I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. Balance. The coffee's milk kind of stands out more so than anything else in this coffee. It's consistent from the moment it goes into your mouth to the moment you swallow it, but then it changes once it's down and you start tasting the coffee after. For balance, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. Forgiveness, I honestly believe that the complexity and the presentation of the coffee kind of forgives any other small marks that I took off. It's definitely a complex coffee, so I'll give it bonus points for that. For forgiveness, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Versatility, you can drink this coffee in the morning and afternoon, at night. There's no flavors that stand out too much. You can kind of pick this up at any time during the day, anytime during the week, you know, Monday to Friday, Saturday or Sunday. Versatility, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. So the coffee ended up getting a 31 out of 50, or about 62% out of 100. Thank you so much for watching Cafe and Views. I don't believe that it holds up to the Brad Pitt name, but go see for yourself. Maybe you have a different take on it than I do. It wasn't a bad coffee, it was a good coffee, but it just didn't hold up to the Brad Pitt name. Tune in next time to see where we're going next. Peace.